Book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 22. Hebrews 10 and 22. Reading from the New American Standard Bible, so you understand the words are different. It says, "Let us draw near with a sincere heart in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful. Yeah. And let us consider how to stimulate one another to love and good deeds, not forsaking our own assembly together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." I want to talk about requirements to stand and proceed. Requirements for standing and to proceed. For whatever reason, God has chosen, the book of Hebrews is constantly on me and constantly in my mind. And as we think about Hebrews, knowing what a book was written for and the reason a book was written enables us to truly be able to appreciate and understand the messages that are being portrayed in that particular book. And sometimes you can read Hebrews, and if you're not careful, you come away with a message that was not intended by the writer or by God. And what I mean by that is Hebrews is a book that wants to deal with the frustrated people, of people who in the early church were dealing with persecution, hardships, and struggles. And so when you understand that what's going on is there's a group of people who have found themselves as outcasts in a world where they used to be embraced and accepted. And now they're considering whether or not they want to continue to go in and be involved in this kind of punishment and persecution. And so they're talking about going back to the Jewish way of doing things, sacrificing goats and sacrificing lambs, and going through the process of going through doing these ritual things in order to be able to be accepted by those who are in what we would call the upper echelon of what was then the known religion. And the problem here is that when you read the book, you need to understand that what the writer's trying to convey is that while the sacrificial system is here, we have the system that God has, which is Christ. And what he's basically saying is Jesus is a better plan than the old sacrificial system. And what Hebrews begins to tell us is, it tells us that the old Jewish tradition, the old Jewish system was placed there so that we could get used to what needed to take place, even though the sacrifice of lambs and sacrifices of goats was not sufficient to pay the cost for what was going on in our lives, for the sin price that happened when Adam messed up. And they were saying to them that, watch this, they're saying that Jesus is a system that does not require the same thing to happen over and over again. While lambs and goats had to be sacrificed at least yearly, and while you had to constantly pay a cost and bring a goat or turtle doves or something to pay the cost for the mess ups you had, Jesus, on the other hand, was a one price paid off. It was the difference between getting a paycheck once a year and getting enough money in your bank account to pay for the rest of eternity in your life, where you never have to need. And so they were struggling with whether or not they ought to go back. And the reason that's becoming a problem is because sometimes, and the situation we're in now is, we're in a world where this book we call the Bible is not totally accepted. We're not living with the Jewish system. We're living with a system that wants to move away from the biblical mandate of the Bible and move to what is customary and acceptable, because it's our culture has changed. And if we're not careful, powerful, we'll find ourselves perplexed with the situation we're in. And so the writer is writing to us to know that the way we secure our new life and the faith we have is not based on a system that has to constantly be repeated. And there is a danger. Let me stop there quickly and say, there is a danger here. And the danger here is that some people will take this system and try to abuse it. They will try to utilize it in a way that it was never intended, which meant I get to do anything I want and still get to say, okay, I'm all right. It was never intended for us to get Jesus as our avenue or our covering to be able to do anything we want. It all comes back to whether or not we want to secure our faith and anchor our faith in something that is permanent and not temporary. And so as we look at this passage, this particular passage here in Hebrews 10 and 22 through 25, it's talking about the way we secure our new and living faith. It's telling us what are the requirements to stand and then be able to proceed in what we're doing. He says here in the text, he wants us to understand. He says, let us draw near, watch this, with a sincere heart.
Right?
Yeah.
Listen, with a sincere heart in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience, and our bodies washed with pure water. Listen, he said the first duty, if we're going to be able to stand and proceed, is watch this. We've got to draw near to God. The first duty is to draw near to God. Christ has opened up an avenue where we could come into the presence of God. Why is it that we weren't able to go? You have to understand, God is a perfect God. He is a holy God, and so he cannot be associated with sin. And so we weren't able to draw near to God before. But Christ came to pay the price for where we messed up. Now here's the catch. A dog can't pay the price for a cat. And a goat can't pay the price for a man. So he was trying to tell them that Jesus came because he came as a man to pay the price for a man, so that the price that needed to be paid, when Adam fell in the garden, Jesus succeeded in the world. That's important for you to understand, because when you understand that your failure was made right in Jesus Christ, then you don't have to worry about whether or not you can come to God. Let me see if I can help you. Have you ever did something you didn't have no business? And knew your mama or your daddy knew you did it? And now you need something for school, or you need something for your personal help, and you scared to ask because what? Because you know you done something you ain't had no business. Maybe you didn't do something you should have done. And so you what? You're apprehensive. You're standoffish. You don't want to come to your parents. You don't want to make the request. Even though your parent knows what you did, they're waiting on you to what? To come to them, because they know what you need for school, they want you to have. But you feel like you can't go to